A second woman has now come forward accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault. And this time, it's a woman named Deborah Ramirez. And according to Nick Visser of HuffPost, Deborah Ramirez, 53, told the New Yorker's Ronan Farrow and Jane Meyer that she was at a dorm room party with Kavanaugh and several other students during Yale's 1983 to 1984 school year. Ramirez said the group was playing a drinking game and she became inebriated. Later in the evening, she was on the floor and remembered a penis being in front of her face before she pushed the person away, causing her to touch it. She said she recalled Kavanaugh standing next to her, laughing and pulling up his pants. Another student then yelled down the hall, "Brett Kavanaugh just put his penis in Debbie's face." She noted that there are large gaps in her memory and said she was hesitant to come forward, afraid that she would be attacked because she had been drinking at the time. But Ramirez said her experience, along with that of Christine Blasey Ford, would warrant an FBI investigation into the nominee's behavior. Kavanaugh denied the claims in a statement to the outlet, saying the event from 35 years ago did not happen. "The people who knew me then know that this did not happen and have said so. This is a smear, plain and simple." Now, because she admits that she was inebriated and because she admits that there are gaps in her memory, Republicans are calling bullshit on these allegations, and as a result, they scheduled to vote to confirm Kavanaugh on Friday anyway. However, as of today, a third woman has now come forward named Julie Swetnick, who alleges that Kavanaugh and his friends actually attempted to spike the drinks of girls at high school parties in the 1980s in an attempt to rape them. Now, these allegations are detailed in an affidavit, which carries the penalty of perjury, so obviously this is very, very serious, and to nobody's surprise, Kavanaugh is also denying these allegations, likening them to something that we'd see from the Twilight Zone series. Now, since Swetnick's lawyer is Michael Avenatti, this caused Donald Trump to take to Twitter to attack him, saying Avenatti is a third-rate lawyer who is good at making false accusations like he did on me and like he is now doing on Judge Brett Kavanaugh. He is just looking for attention and doesn't want people to look at his past record and relationships. A total lowlife. Now, President Trump then held a news conference where he claims that hearing the testimony from Kavanaugh accusers could potentially cause him to change his mind on Kavanaugh, but he still defended Kavanaugh, and he called these accusations a big fat con job and insisted that an investigation by the FBI was unnecessary since they've already vetted him before. Now, if you really do believe that these allegations amount to nothing more than a big fat con job, then that's all the more reason that you'd want the FBI to look into them. But nonetheless, Donald Trump is maintaining that he is not in favor of an FBI investigation. Now, as far as we know, the vote is still slated for Friday, which is completely unacceptable because not only do senators not have time to even digest the new allegations that surfaced more recently from Swetnick, but at the rate we're going, it wouldn't be surprising if even more women came forward, given the evidence that we're seeing from people who knew Kavanaugh at that time, like his college roommate who claimed that he wouldn't be surprised if the allegations that came up from Deborah Ramirez were in fact true. Now, since the vote should obviously be canceled at this point, I don't even think that's debatable for reasonable people, or delayed at a bare minimum, but cancellation is certainly the goal. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley filed for an injunction in order to stop the vote from taking place on Friday, and chances are Republicans are probably going to try to fight that and push it through anyway this Friday before any more allegations surface. So at this point, I don't know why Republicans would even waste political capital on Brett Kavanaugh. There are plenty of other right-wing goons that would probably do the party's bidding just as much, if not more, as Brett Kavanaugh. So the fact that they continue to waste political capital on what is obviously a horrible choice is political suicide at this point, especially before the 2018 midterm elections. Now, as the allegations against Kavanaugh mount, so too does national outrage, and Common Dreams reports that survivors of sexual assault flooded Capitol Hill and 35 women were arrested outside of Susan Collins' office, who, as we all no is probably going to be a swing vote here. And Women's March organizers also told Jeff Flake to vote no, asking him if he wants to go down in history as a rape apologist, or at least that was the message that they wanted to convey to him. And also members of Ultraviolet showed up. So the case against Kavanaugh is quickly growing. You have multiple accusers now accusing him of sexual assault and alleged rape, which is very serious. You have national outrage festering, and that's aside from his dismal record. I mean, this is an individual who is constitutionally illiterate because he has absolutely no regard for the Fourth Amendment, which means he's not qualified to be on the Supreme Court. So if he's confirmed, I have no doubt that the Supreme Court would take another massive legitimacy hit. So the question is, at what point is he going to withdraw his nomination and say, enough is enough? Clearly, the American people don't want me here. There's multiple women that have come forward. When is he going to withdraw his nomination? Well, in an interview with the Republican Party propaganda network Fox News, he remained defiant and said he's not going anywhere.
Did you guys ever look at each other and say, I'm out, this is enough, just isn't worth it?
I'm not going to let false accusations drive us out of this process, and we're looking for a fair process where I can be heard and defend my integrity, my lifelong record of promoting dignity and equality for women, starting with the women who knew me when I was 14 years old. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, you should, and quite frankly, you should be impeached from your current position as a judge once you're not confirmed to the Supreme Court, because anyone who brazenly disregards one whole amendment of the Constitution, like the Fourth Amendment, they have no business deciding on precedent that affects millions of Americans. This is an individual that should be nowhere near the Constitution and certainly should not be deciding on cases in the highest court in this country. He's a disgrace. And last week, I really made a strong case for people to call not just for him to be delayed, but for his nomination to be withdrawn altogether. And I am glad to know that more people are joining me in calling for this scumbag to withdraw his nomination and to put pressure on Trump to withdraw this nomination and pick someone else, because I'm not convinced we're going to end up in a better situation with someone else. But I mean, this is what Democrats need to do. They need to do everything in their power to stall, to obstruct, because again, this party stole a Supreme Court seat away from Obama. So you don't ever give them anything. You vote no, you delay, you obstruct, you do everything in your power to throw a wrench in their plans, because this is completely unacceptable. So I'm glad more people are joining me in calling on a cancellation of this vote. And amid all of these allegations, this is certainly starting to hurt Republicans, because they're smearing Kavanaugh's accusers, and in doing so, they're showing that they don't care about women. They don't believe women, and this is a very dangerous game to be playing before the midterms when they already don't have much political capital to spend. So he shouldn't be confirmed, even if we didn't have these two women come forward and accuse him of sexual assault. But now with them coming forward, he certainly absolutely should not be confirmed. And if he is confirmed, then that's just disgusting, and the legitimacy of the Supreme Court will be forever damaged so long as he's there, because I mean, this guy should be nowhere near the Constitution. We need individuals who will be objective and interpret the Constitution, not be political partisan hacks and just rule in a way that would appease the Republican Party, and that's exactly what this scumbag would do.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.